Good morning, guys. Thanks for listening. If you haven't subscribed, hit the button below. So this morning, I'm going to start out with something a little bit weird. So I was looking in the mirror for 5 minutes while I was getting dressed, and I was thinking that I had a stray hair, to realize that I was trying to pick off a wrinkle. So my question is, am I old? Does that mean I'm getting old if I'm trying to pick off a wrinkle thinking it's a hair? I'm going to think so. That's the kind of morning I'm having. That's where I'm at. You know, coming to terms with being 39, almost 40, and having a wrinkle on my forehead that I thought was a hair. So that's the whole mood I'm in. Just so you know, not spiritual. It's not a spiritual mood, but I got a good word. Anyways, so I actually have a story, and it's about me. So have you ever looked at somebody who's doing something and think, man, they've just really got it, you know? And I'm not saying I do that with people. Like, I look at people and I'm thinking they have it all together. When the more I do that, the more I realize nobody really has it together. It's only about the small things and just walking it out in our personal life. And then we can just glean these things. So this is a story just about me walking it out. And I would love to say, oh yeah, this is a story from 5 years ago. I've matured so much, but it's not. This is a story from recent. So I just had like a whole moment, you know, with the Lord. I was in prayer and some things weren't, I just didn't see the bigger picture on some things. And so I wasn't like full on like having a fit or anything, but I was praying about it. But in my heart, I was kind of grumbling. I was kind of, I was just kind of complaining about it, you know, and I was asking why. And then I was kind of just in a bad mood. You know, I may have kept my words under control in my prayers, but my heart, see, God just goes beyond all of that. And he goes into the heart and he's like, you know, and I was just kind of nasty about it. Well, but I took it to God anyway. I took my nastiness into his presence, which is what we should do. We shouldn't shrink away. So I did that. And so I'm just sitting there and I heard nothing. I didn't, he did not speak. And I just left it. I worked on my heart, got my heart right. And then it had been like a week later and I'm in there just getting dressed. I mean, a lot of things happen in there when I'm getting dressed. It's my moments, I guess. So I'm in there just getting dressed, and the Lord just randomly out of the blue, I'm thinking about blow drying my hair, and he speaks to me, and he tells me that he's teaching me to be faithful in the small things. And instantly I knew that he was speaking into what I was grumbling and complaining about the week prior. But I got to, and I was so thankful, and, you know, I'm like, oh, you know, but when I got to really thinking about it, it occurred to me that grumbling doesn't move God. It just doesn't. It doesn't ever. Faithful obedience does. The fact that in that moment I was grumbling, I brought it into his presence. He knew where I was at, but I worked through it, and I have continued being faithfully obedient. Then he could speak into that. What moved God to speak into my situation was not my fit. It was not my griping. It was not my complaining. It was my faithful obedience. That's what moves God. That's what moves him to come into a situation. And so the encouragement is just learn from me. Walk it out with me. If you're grumbling, if you're complaining about something, if you've got something that, you know, maybe you've been standing in faith for and haven't seen, and your heart's just kind of, you know, there. Maybe you're saying all the right things like me, because I got all the spiritual things I can say. But God just goes beyond that and into my heart. Get that right. Bring it into his presence and let him speak into your faithful obedience. Don't give up, is what I'm saying. Don't give up. Being faithful with the small things and just, you know, to whatever he's told you to do. And so that's the encouragement. That's my story. Hope you can learn something from it, because we're all learning together. It's a daily thing. So I'm praying for you. I'm praying blessings upon you. And I'll talk to you tomorrow.